All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. If you are coming over from the last video, you are probably in this area here. You have ripped the game assets, you have loaded them up into Unity, and you have added this editor folder with the C# assembly. Um, and you are set and ready to go and to start making some models to add into the game. So here is how we're going to do it. Alright, so I have a Bulbasaur I'm going to use here. Nice little Bulbasaur. So we just import him. And what I'm going to do, and you import him just by dragging and dropping him here. And the thing I like to do first is just to add, create an empty, and just name it whatever you want to. I'm gonna name him Bulbasaur because it's a Bulbasaur. Alright. Then I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna make myself a folder. Uh, folder. And I'm just gonna call it my assets. Alright. Then when I click on my assets and I go down here to the bottom right, it says asset bundle. I'm gonna click on this and I'm gonna hit my bundles and we're going to move it over to my bundles something. If you don't have a name already, you can hit new, and then type in a name. And what this is going to do is the path that you put along with the name, whenever you right click and hit build asset bundles, it's going to put it under this folder in asset bundles. Then it's going to put it under the folder that you specified with the name that you specified. So this is from something else. I'm just going to delete it. Okay. And this is from something else. So I'm just going to delete that as well. Okay, there we go. All right. So now that I got my Bulbasaur over here, I'm going to go into my asset folder. I'm just going to drag that down. And I'm going to double click on it, go into prefab mode. And this is basically just the mode where you edit prefabs in Unity. I'm going to put this at 0, 0, 0. And I'm going to go around to where the blue arrow is pointing at me. In Unity, Z is forward and backwards, Y is up and down, and X is left and right. Oop, where'd it go? Oh, I unclicked it. That's what. Okay. All right. So now that I have that, I can go in here. I can go back to here where I uploaded the Bulbasaur, and I can just click and drag this Bulbasaur and add it as a child here. He is facing completely the wrong way. It's fine. We're just going to we can play with the rotation, spin him around, which is what I think we're just going to do. I think we're just going to spin him around like that. Alright, so if you notice, his texture is messed up. So what we need to do is we just need to create a different mesh for him. So we're going to go create mesh, or not mesh, but material. I'm going to name it whatever. We're just going to name it Bulbasaur. And I have this Bulbasaur texture to drag over here. And we're just going to put that texture. We're going to make sure that we're editing this mesh. We're just going to drop that texture. Okay, we got to change the rendering mode. My bad. Nope, not even the shader. We got to change the shader. We're going to change it to Toonie colors. And we're going to go with standard PBS. And then we're going to drop this right there. And then we're going to go back to the model. We're going to drop this on that mesh renderer. There we go. And there goes our Bulbasaur with a good texture on him. Alright, So our Bulbasaur might not be big enough. All right, so there's a few things you need on the Bulbasaur here. The very first thing you need to do is make sure that you put this layer as shop model. Only this layer, only this object, shop model. That's good. Then you add a component, and you have to add an interactable object. So I also provide a few different. I'm also going to provide a few different scripts, and the scripts DLL. Just drag and drop this here, and it should compile them. And you can just drag and drop those up there like that. And then of course I have the wall hanging script for posters and whatnot. And these inherit from that interactable object. So it should be good to go. So, and as I support more things, there would be more scripts in here, such as ceiling hanging and whatnot. So this needs an interactable object script. So I'm just going to add the base interactable object. We don't need anything special for him. We'll go through these settings here in a second. But we also need to add a box collider. That's almost perfect. All right, so this is the box collider that controls your walking. So you want to make sure you get it somewhat close. This might be like a 0.9. Yeah, that's probably a little bit better. And then the Y don't really matter too much, but we're gonna go down to like we're gonna go down to like 0.75, and then we'll just change this to be 0.25 or 0.3. I think that's good enough. Okay. Now, like I said, this is just the box collider that controls your walking. All right. So we are almost complete here with what Bulbasaur needs. Bulbasaur needs one more thing, or two more things, and we can get that from other prefabs that are in the base game and just copy and paste to make our lives a little bit easier. So we'll pull this in, and there you can see how big Bulbasaur is going to be compared to everything else as well. If you just pull this cabinet in, this is going to be Bulbasaur's size in game. But there's a couple things off this cabinet that we need. So if you open the cabinet, the move state valid area group and the nav mesh cut. So just select both of those, copy, paste into the base Bulbasaur game object, and then you can delete the cabinet A. Then just on the move state valid group area, just go 0, 0, 0, and that actually looks relatively correct. So this is the area that Bulbasaur takes up and the area that no other object can be placed in, and what controls where he can be placed on the ground as well. You just have to make sure that this move state valid area is of the move state block area layer, and we are good. And then you can toy with all this as far as like moving the scale and whatnot to make it fit better. Like if I go like 0.25, the Y don't really matter too much on this, but you can toy with it, right? So it should be good to go. The nav mesh cut does need to be in this center of in the bottom center of Bulbasaur. This is what makes it where AI will nav to either to them or away from them or whatever may be the case. All right. And that's it. That's all the pieces our Bulbasaur needs. Now let's go through and look at that script again. All right, so the script needs highlight game object, nav mesh cut. So we got the nav mesh cut right here. The mesh and the skin mesh. So the highlight game object mesh and skin mesh are used for highlighting the object when you hover it in game. The highlight game object will actually turn an object on and off as a highlighter. So if you want to like add a big, massive, glowy object behind him for whenever you highlight it, hover over him, and that object will turn on, you can do that there. These two meshes, they just basically take the material and highlight the material. I'm not going to worry about it at all for this current export. And the highlight outline width, it just controls how much it outlines that material. Is generic object, we're going to select yes, because that's going to make sure that the base game takes over and does the saving and loading and all that of this object. Can pick up move object, yes. Can box up object, yes. We're not making new sellable items yet. I'm not supporting that just yet. We might. That's probably going to be the next thing on the chopping board. So we're going to leave that unchecked. Place in shop. Yep. Pick up mesh. So we're going to want the mesh item for that. So that's going to be this untitled here. It's going to be the one that has the mesh filter with the mesh renderer and the material that we put on it. Move state valid object. So we got this move state valid object group. You want to give it the actual move state valid object. Move state valid object shelf. We don't have to worry about that. This isn't a shelf. And then box collider is going to be the box collider we put on the base object. So if you just pull the base object down, there you go. There is no box collider list. Game action input display list we can add, and we can just put start move object. All right, and we'll see for everything. We'll just make it once over. Shop model. This stuff is filled out. This looks fine. This looks good. Everything else looks good. So we can save this prefab. We can make sure that it's in my assets. And this is all we need. So, well, we need an icon. We need an icon for the shop store and an icon for the box. So it's actually just one icon for both. So I just quickly Googled and found one here. So let me just save that. I don't want to save it as that though. Okay, we'll save it as that and just convert it. Okay, and we're going to import this. Just like everything else, we're just going to drag and drop it in. And then we can move it over to the we can put it directly in the My Assets folder. I'm going to open up the My Assets folder. We're going to, this is very important for the icons. We have to change this to a Sprite 2D. Then you click off and you hit apply, and there we go. Another extremely important thing about the icons is they have to be named unique names. So I'm going to give this one a GN bulba icon like that, and then hopefully the GN is enough to make sure that it stays unique across multiple people adding stuff to this, right? But the names actually, the name of the icons have to be unique. No matter which mod they come from, they have to be unique. So it's highly recommended you come up with some prefix for your prefix or postfix that you use in order to name your stuff. All right, now I got both the items I need. I got my Bulbasaur prefab. I have my icon. I'm just going to go back up to assets and I'm going to hit build asset bundles. Now I go to my, there's something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to hit show in Explorer. I'm going to go ahead and open my game space directory here. Okay, so there's my game space directory. I'm going to go into my plugins folder, enhance prefab loader, asset bundles, some mod, and then here is where I'm going to put my assets, asset bundle, my bundles, and then we want the one that has no extension. So I'm going to put that here, and then I'm going to go into JSON. The naming convention here is the JSON can be named whatever you want it to be. So blah.json. The only thing that matters is that the asset bundle is named the same. So it's just going to be bulba, right? All right. So in the JSON is where we're going to tell my program what's in this asset bundle. If I don't do that. Okay, there we go. All right. So this is where we're going to tell my program what's in the asset bundle. So if we just go back to my assets, we can kind of refresh our memory. There is no Mario icon, so it's going to be, I named it GN Bulba icon. And we want to make sure we definitely get this right because it needs to be named the exact same as it is in the editor. Okay, yep. And then this needs to be, the name needs to be what it is in the editor, so Bulbasaur. And we want this to be added to the item shop. The sprite name, just copy the sprite name from here. This is the sprite name that this prefab is going to use. Description, this is going to be a miniature Bulbasaur statue. I'm going to say it has a level requirement of 15. This is the shop level requirement, and I can buy this for, why not, 20 bucks. Okay, here's the next thing that matters a lot. Object type. You can put the object type as whatever you want. However, it must be unique. Across every single item you add, this must be unique. So not only you, but other people that's adding stuff to this as well, it must be unique. So again, I recommend coming up with some type of prefix or postfix that you add to all of your stuff. In my case, I'm just using GN. So we're going to call this GN Bulba. Okay. And then we're going to save this. And then there's one more file we need to edit. And we're going to, actually, you can just copy this object type. One more file we need to edit. We're going to go back. We're going to go back to BIP EX folder. We're going to go to Patchers. Enhance prefab loader. Your mod. This object types.json. It does not matter what this file is named as long as it's .json. And then you just go and put all of your different object types in here. That's it. So if you had another one, if you had like if you did add a Mario or whatever, right? And you can just put it in all of them. So all of the unique object types that you created for the models that you added. Each model has to have its own unique object type. We can leave that in there. It doesn't matter if it's an unused value or not. Now that that's done, that's it. The game is good to go. That model should be in the game. We're going to launch it. We'll load my test save. We're going to go into the furniture shop. There's our icon. We're going to purchase some of our friends here. There's our Bulbasaur. And I can pick him up. Move him. There's our Bulbasaur. Now, if you would put the wall hanging one on it, you would be able to place it on the windows, but we didn't do that, so we're just going to put a bunch of Bulbasaurs on the ground. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all there is to it. Once you get the asset swept and you get Unity installed with the ripped assets open, it becomes extremely simple, and you only have to do that once. You only have to ever do that again if massive changes are made to the game. So I haven't ever ripped mine again since I've originally ripped it when the game first came out. So there, yeah. All right, but that is it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy adding new stuff to the game, and I catch y'all whenever I